here 3v3 Angel Gate blue team. It's Noisy, who's not moving, playing a Force Commander. Very good offense fights in melee combat, can also tank, disrupt and support with buffs. There he goes, and this is the Blood Angels elite scheme. Alongside Floid is a big stompy Hive Tyrant, very durable commander, walks through objects and cannot be suppressed. Some good offense, disruption and some support too. Begins in melee with a basic synapse. Rounding off the blue team, it's Forestradio, who often goes random, so that might have been the case here, playing an Inquisitor offensive commander. Lots of great control abilities. Begins in melee combat with some ranged options too. Red team, we have Yahya, also known as Yay, playing a Mekboy, a teleporting commander that fights range combat, puts out some good damage, can also support, disrupt, build structures and repair. Very useful little orc. Rounding off the red team, couple of Chaos players. First up is Zevargel as a Chaos Lord, durable and destructive commander, walks through objects and cannot be suppressed. For very good offense and disruption, fights mainly in melee combat. This is the Black Legion elite scheme. You can tell because of the Chaos Lord's helmet and that banner, and also the spiky helmets of the Chaos Space Marines, looking pretty cool. Rounded off the red team is zeetorq as a Chaos Sorcerer, offensive and disruptive commander. Lot of great manipulation and control abilities and some powerful offense too. Going to work on that Inquisitor, who is tying up in turn some Chaos Space Marines. Doom bolts flying out, trying to beat down those guardsmen. We have some double Zinch worship for that infiltration, but Forestradio with a good initial engagement was very aggressive with the Inquisitor there, getting in amongst those CSM and shut them down pretty nicely. They weren't able to shoot their bolters at the guardsmen there. Some shooter boys trading shots with tactical marines, getting flamed down pretty badly, losing a couple of models needlessly there. I think he should have backed away as soon as he saw that flamer come up. 463 to 490. Just a single CSM on the field for Zevargel. Suggests he's going straight into a tier 1.5, and here it comes. It's Havocs on the way. Triple Termagants for Floid. Hive Tyrant moving in with not a lot of support, soaking up a lot of damage, but not achieving a whole lot there. Not sure why he moved in. All the Termagants moving up. Hormagaunts are going ahead to either try and decap this, or are they going to try and eat some generators? Looks like they're going for generators. What's this? Oh, sneaky sluggers with burners going after generators, but here comes a Force Commander from Noisy with a power sword up, and he's going to get in amongst them and should be able to take a couple of models at least. What's going on bottom? Wow, a whole bunch of dead guardsmen just about getting away. In fact, that was probably a nasty Doom bolts mixed in with these Heretics grenade launchers. Wow, there's a lot of dead guardsmen. Sentinel needs to be careful, needs to back the hell away here. You have double grenade launchers for zeetorq. That is incredibly painful now for those guardsmen. Gonna really need to be aggressive, getting in amongst them with the Inquisitor if he can. Does have the Holy Brazier of Holy Pyre, which is gonna be great. Gonna damage those Heretics over time and debuff the damage that they do. Could also get spotters up to try and shut them down and disrupt, or Catechins of course to be a little bit more aggressive and also sneaky. We'll see, because none of those guys of course have an aspiring champion though, so a cheeky improvised explosive somewhere could do some serious damage. We have looters backing away from this Force Commander, chasing them down with plasma pistol shots, and will chase them into the garrison. Yes, shooter boys meanwhile taking the wreck. What's this? Floyd pushing mid quite hard, is not quite taking a wreck point, but decapped. That's pretty annoying with a combi flamer on Chaos Lord of Zevargel. Noisy with a second tactical marine squad up pretty late there. He must have built a bunch of generators. These are Forestradio generators. Yeah, these are all Noisy's gens. What is Forestradio's next purchase? That's going to be important. I mean, it's not vital that you get these power nodes, but it can be pretty important, especially if they're held throughout the entire game. If they're just held in tier 1 and then you work on getting them back in tier 2, it's not so bad. But if they're both noded for the entire game, giving +8 power, giving +13 here because there's a generator, that's going to add up a hell of a lot and help soften the blow if those mid natural powers are bashed as well. But Forestradio is going straight to tier 2. We'll see what he gets up. Doom bolts flying in. There's the jump. Maybe some Ogrins with Interrogator's armor. We don't see any sign of any armor right now. Tactical Marines tied up by the Mekboy, but they're beating them down pretty well with those power armored fists. Looters suppressing the Tactical Marines. Force commanders there. They're trying to get in, but look at that. That was Yahya switching targets quite nicely, but here comes Floid with a triple termagant flank, trying to force melee combat. In fact, termagants, of course, pathetic in melee combat. They have their toxin sacks, which only increases their range damage, as you can see, so it doesn't make it any better in melee. Still with the double power nodes and a generator for red team at the bottom. Raptors jumping on the Inquisitor, going to tie her up. She does have the Holy Brazier, which is a power melee weapon, so they need to be a little bit careful going after it, especially if she gets those special attacks off. That can be nasty. Sentinel, what is it doing? Just drawing fire. zeetorq doing a good job holding this stuff right now. There's a Chimera for Forestradio. He might come mid with it. I don't think there's a much point sitting bottom with a Chimera. Gonna try and use it to push through, bash those powers, and then come mid, I guess. But his team are doing pretty damn well mid, so I guess he doesn't need to. I would have gone for Ogrin, something a little bit more aggressive, because zeetorq is going straight for Plague Marines, which will put pressure on the Chimera, not to mention Raptors with a possible Power Fist. In fact, they are getting the aspiring champion here. We'll give them a Power Fist and a Melter Pistol, so that Chimera is going to be under pressure, and Inquisitor doesn't really have a way to control those Raptors apart from her Hammer of the Witches, of course, which will stun and damage a single model, but the other models won't be able to move much while it's active. These Hormones are going to wipe this. They do. Did they have adrenal glands? I'm not sure. 437 to 390. Here comes zeetorq mid. His team really needs some help. They got their power bashed completely. Even this wreck point taken. And Warriors in retreat. They do get away without a loss. Chaos Lord still level 1. Noisy with yet more Tactical Marines coming on the way in tier 2. Most likely a Stone Guard for one of those guys. Is Floid going tier 2 last? Did he get anything up on the Hive Tyrant? Yes. By improved synapse and a warp field, so we might see the Venom Cannon here. Though it is a good map for melee commanders, since you have quite a short retreat back to your base. So the big tanky melee guys, who are typically quite slow, can do a good job with melee weapons. You might see the Crushing Claw hit the field. 437 to 345. He hasn't queued anything up on the Hive Tyrant. Look at this though, red team retaking the top. Sluggers will cap it. Looters there. And a beamy death gun mech. Not a bit strange to see that without him spotting a vehicle. Not sure I agree with that. How much is the beamy death gun? I'm not actually sure. Huge amounts of damage, as you can see there. Also has the custom force field. Floid now helping out bottom. Is he split? Where's the rest of his stuff? Oh, it's all here. Warriors are still back at base. Raptors jumping in. Is a zone throat on the way for Floid. Missile hit on the Sentinel. That's a good stomp, and is able to get the Sentinel out of there. That is a dicey pathing situation with the Sentinel and the Chimera trying to make its way through Angel Gate, but he does get it out of there just about. Little Galaxy Burn on a blob of Guardsmen, so satisfying, and did a lot of damage. Good grief. Couldn't quite get them inside the Chimera before the first missile, before the first flame ball, fireball even, hit and knocked them all over. We saw the demon armor there briefly from the Sorcerer. Gives them demonic shield. And got all of these units inside it there. Warrior Brood do not have their adrenal glands yet. Are we even going to see? He doesn't have any melee. Oh, Gene Stealer's on the way, so we most likely will see the adrenal glands. They're going to be buffed now by the improved synapse and most likely adrenal glands. He's not gone for it yet. Does he not have the power? Does have the power. I'm not sure what he's waiting for there. 397, 342, and that will give them a lot of reverse synapse, or synapse feedback as I call it, on the Warrior Brood, since he has triple termagants to buff their damage. We have a Thunderhammer Force Commander with the teleporter up and Armor of Alacrity. He is going to be super mobile. Look at this Mekboy absolutely owning those generators. Force Commander's not even going after him. Wow, Beamy Death Gun bashing gens like crazy, so he has got some use out of it. Is it still kicking off bottom? Kind of. Hive Tyrant's in retreat now. Still no weapon upgrade for this guy. Havoc's with an autocannon getting away from the Inquisitor. She does have now the Excruciators. Gives you a sail, which is freaking awesome. Can use it to stop that Chaos Lord in his tracks, for example, or the Raptors after they jump in. It is a channeled ability, I believe, so if you move the Inquisitor while it's active, it will cancel. But still, well worth it. Oh, Dark Flames on a whole bunch of Tyranids. That is painful. 382 to 329. Sorcerers in... Heretics, I should say, in retreat. Sorcerer is level 2. We do have Adrenal Glands up for the Warrior Brood. These Gene Stealers are going to be ferocious. 1470 hit points. That is without the Hive Tyrant nearby. They ran into a whole bunch of stuff there, though. They will tear down those sluggers. Gene Stealers are a great melee superiority unit. Send them into another melee squad and they will most likely come out on top. There are some instances where they won't. Most likely Lightning Claw Terminators. But if you get multiple Gene Stealers on them, they can tear them down. They can put up a really good fight with the melee Synapse against even Lightning Claw Terminators. Seen it happen. Chaos Sword level 2. There is the Holy Pyre. Where's the casting range of that? Could he have casted that a little bit closer? 350 to 329. Red team pushing back big time here against mid team's power. That Beam with Defcon is doing work against Gens. Floid needs to be a bit more aggressive, get some kills in. He seems to be on the edge of engagements. Every time he gets close, he's either doubled or caught slightly out of position and he's forced off. A bit more team play between him and Noisy would help a lot. I think Zevargel and Yahya are working together slightly better so far. Can change very quickly. They are going to defend the power here and repurchase the gens that they lost. CSM with an Aspiring Champion. This is in fact the Thousand Suns Elite Scheme recolored, by the way. If you're wondering why the Aspiring Champion has a hood there and why the Heretics have hoods. Still no Aspiring Champions, nope. For the Heretics, that is. We have Plague Marines almost at level 2. Sorcerer, as you can see, the Robes of Torment gives him the grenade icon, which is a bit odd. It's often used as a generic decorator for area of effect abilities. They're still a bit weird. It's not like the Inquisitor gets the grenade icon from having a sail or anything. 313, 329. Trying to go for gens is Noisy. He's got triple Tactical Marine Flamers, really? And Stone Guard Veterans, wow. Hellfire rounds loaded in. And Raptors are going to have a field day jumping on that blob of Tactical Marines. The Force Commander can do a lot of work there, counter-initiating with the hammer. And we do see the Crushing Claw up for the Hive Tyrant. 108 heavy melee DPS. Yes, that is not a typo. That's how much damage that thing does. It's so painful. 313, 310. That is more DPS than a Dreadnought to a single target. But of course it doesn't have the splash of a Dreadnought, which makes a massive difference. Good push through from zeetorq. Really good push through. Has he swapped with Zevargel? I noticed him mentioning swapping in the chat. He wanted Zevargel to go bottom for whatever reason, and they have held on to this power pretty much all the way through the game. No more nodes there, and Forestradio is coming up to the middle. He's lost his Chimera. I completely missed that, but it is down. He's in tier 3 though. Do you get Lehman Russes even on this map? I always say, I've said it so many times, not to get tanks on this map. In my opinion, they are a liability, and unless you're in a massively advantageous position already, just the pathing around these buildings is a bit of a minefield for tracked vehicles. 313 to 276. I'd just get a bunch of Kasrkin in tier 3. Maybe a Baneblade. Baneblade could do some work if he keeps it on this kind of central road. where he has space to maneuver. Raptors jumping in, going after that Inquisitor, and taking chunks off a health bar with that power fist. As you can see, that is painful stuff. Chaos Lord level 3, doing work with the Combi Flamer, Tactical Marines, sorry, Stone Guard veterans with Kraken rounds loaded in, doing extra damage to heavy infantry and commanders. Hive Tyrant's going to go down, maybe. Wow, gets away. He managed that very well there. Or will he? Yes. If he retreated any sooner, would have been taken out, but judged that pathing very, very well there. Sentinel under pressure. Done quite well with this thing, Forestradio. That's a Dark Flames, though. That's going to finish off the Brood Nest in absolutely no time. It's a great global, though, the Brood Nest. Just 100 red to get that thing up. Tier 3 for Floid. Phobos on the way for both of the Chaos players. Noisy has some Terminator. Oh, it's a Terminator Force Commander. Wow, really? He had Thunderhammer, Alacrity, and Teleporter, and switches to the Terminator Force Commander. That is hugely surprising. The Terminator Force Commander on paper is a really strong piece of wargear. Gives you an 85 DPS heavy melee power fist, 2,500 hit points of heavy infantry armor, suppression immunity, a teleporter, really good piercing damage, all in one package that can retreat, of course. The thing is, it doesn't really fulfill a specific role like a Thunderhammer Force Commander or a Power Fist Force Commander with its flesh over steel would. It is a very good general combat unit though, and if you get the Assault Cannon up, you can do some work, because this guy does inspire on kill, I believe. What's going on top? Red team not willing to go for the cap. VP still very close. Double zone throats now for Floid. Gonna be interested to see what Noisy gets up to with that Terminator Force Commander. We saw him in base there. He might want to get the heavy flamer up and go after the base turrets. I know he loves to do that on Angel Gate. He loves to go after the HQs. Maybe we'll see lightning claws. Down goes another Brood Nest. Floid quite rightly backing off. Where is the rest of Noisy stuff? Coming out of base here. Delegacy burn. Scaling so well into the late game, and double Phoboses are on the field. Baneblade just about to hit, and that will quite happily shoot down a Phobos thanks to its just over 1,000 more hit points, I believe. We have some Assault Kit Stormtroopers for Forestradio. Librarian on the way for Noisy to support the Las Cannon Devastators, and also the Terminator Force Commander. I guess he has gone for the heavy flamer. We'll see what he can do with it. Here comes the Baneblade. Does the Phobos back off here? No, it does not. Plague Marines getting shots in. Auto Cannon there to get shots in too. Stormtroopers got absolutely owned by that single burst. But here's that Force Commander teleporting in, using that 85 DPS heavy melee power fist to do some work. And he can, of course, go after the Phobos with it. These guys switching to Vengeance rounds. There we go. That's their anti-vehicle and anti-super heavy infantry round. Phobos might go down right here, right now. Las Cannon got a shot in, and that was important. That has slowed this thing down. It is going to go down. Dirge Caster used to try and stop the Force Commander getting hits in, but it's not enough. The Baneblade chases it and takes it out. Pretty unlucky, I think. I mean, it was a good idea to push the Phobos through there. Maybe he could have been a bit quicker to back it the hell off as soon as he saw the Baneblade, but he of course had no idea that a Las Cannon was going to follow up and all that kind of thing. 183, 276 just shows you how quickly you can lose units in Dawn of War 2. I mean, that's the name of the game. It's a mix of hard and soft counters, so stuff can die so quickly if hard counters are on the field, especially multiple hard counters in a team game. 181 to 276. These tactical marines down to a single model there do run away from slaughter Chaos Space Marines. He's still got triple flamers up. Maybe it's time for triple plasma guns or mix in some missile launchers. That's a nasty, wow. Imperial Abyss from Zevargel. It's really nice that you can now tell apart the abysses just by how they look. That was a Chaos Lord's Abyss. Forestradio lost a Guardian squad and a Stormtrooper squad there, I believe. But he's got a Manticore up, which is a nice purchase, and loads of red, so he can drop a Rocket Run. Yahya can also drop a Rox. Rox, in my opinion, on balance, is the best nuke. Well, at least the most killy nuke. Eldritch, obviously, the best thing against those large vehicles and vehicles in general. Rocket Run, arguably better against infantry. But all around, for outright killiness and disruption, of course, Rox is the nuke I would choose. 151 to 276 is a 2-to-1 for red. And now the Baneblade in a lot of trouble. Here comes some repair support. But I think it's going to go down. Phobos is chasing. Plague Marines are chasing. Double Plague Marines, no doubt. There's a Manticore strike trying to disrupt the Plague Marines and barely hit anything. Baneblade is going to go down. Ouch. That was a good push there from red. And now blue team are... Well, I was going to say they're struggling. Uh-oh, that's a Rox on the garrison. Is that going to one-shot? Is that going to take the garrison out and instantly destroy those units? Not quite. Or does it? No, it doesn't. Noisy actually did the correct thing, keeping them in the garrison there. I was going to say blue team looking weak, but Noisy and Floyd have completely full rosters here. And Forestradio is recovering with the Leman Russ. And blue team are going to take the top. What's going on mid? Phobos, Dirgecaster on the Force Commander Terminator. Here comes some Assault Terminators too from Noisy. And they will help greatly going after the Phobos. And they could also switch to Lightning Claws after to slice up those knobs and those Raptors. Zevargel now looking a little bit thin. Maybe it's going to be the red team on the back foot. I thought that Baneblade loss was going to set up a torrid time for blue team, but they are holding their ground very, very well. And that was a good Manticore strike on the Phobos. Assault Terminator is trying to chase, in fact giving up the chase now, turning to engage Heretics. They have Veil of Time on them, or at least had Veil of Time. But look at this, Jason is chasing with Rending Claws, trying desperately to finish it off. And they do. Beautifully done by Floyd. Massive engagement here. 127 to 258. Leman Russ under pressure. I'm telling you, this map is too small for tanks. They're always under so much pressure on it. 127 to 251. Carnifex with Thornback being chased by Knobs. Kraken rounds, sorry, Vengeance rounds loaded in by Stone Guard veterans. They should actually be using their Kraken rounds versus Knobs, because Knobs are regular infantry, not super heavy. They're heavy infantry, sorry, not super heavy. Uh-oh, Tome of Subjugation on the Assault Terminators. Blue natural, sorry, the contested VP is still very blue. Massive engagement still raging at the bottom though. Red team trying to find a way, and I think they need to go top low and try and get that contested VP. 2-to-1 for blue with a 127 to 227, so they have 100 VPs to make up. And a Leman Russ lives, and another Manticore for Forestradio, and that is a great purchase. Force Commander Terminator now switching from his Heavy Flamer to Lightning Claws. How much resources have been spent on that Force Commander Terminator? Somebody work it out. Thunderhammer, Alacrity, Teleporter, Terminator Armor, Heavy Flamer, and now Lightning Claws. Talk about versatility. Zevargel is floating resources. I'm guessing he wants a Great Unclean Wind, which I guess is a good purchase. You could get those Foul Snares to try and get those Zone Thropes. Also follow in that Knob Squad for 2 really massive damage soaks. Force Commander Terminator teleports out of the knobs and gets away. In fact, uses Gate of Infinity to get away. Looks like Noisy has lost 2 of his Tactical Marines, but still has 1. Still with their Flamer and has those Assault Terminators, of course. Is it time to get Lightning Claws on these guys? That's a Manticore strike. Where is it landing? Over here. Nasty stuff. It's going to be difficult. I think it's going to be quite difficult for Red Team to get back into this game. Zevargel. Oh, they have the 2-to-1. They got the top. Just as I say that, they take the top. Good little push from Yahya. Flash kits on the field, dropping 2 models. Blue team should be able to take it back, but that's a Nob squad going in there. Gene Stealers in amongst them, and that is a bad engagement now for the Nob squad. Gene Stealers will tear them apart with melee synapse, especially leveled up Gene Stealers. Yeah, these guys are level 2, and blue team will retake the top. And I still think it's going to be tough for the red team, even if they immediately take the freaking VP after I say that. It's actually a Phobos for Zevargel on the way. Floyd did drop one of his zone throats, but he is floating huge amounts of resources. Not sure what he's waiting for. I'd get a Neuro Thrope up to put even more pressure on those Nobs, and also those Flash Kits, who are also heavy infantry, of course. Another Manticore for Forestradio. Does he have the upgrades? He does have the Storm Eagle upgrade on both of his current Manticores. That's a good purchase for Angel Gate. Get those Manticores up, they do so much for you. Swarm Lord it is for Floyd. And that is actually awesome, because that's going to give the speed buff and the reinforcement synapse to his melee blob. Even speed up that Carnifex and Hive Tyrant. So he has got a seriously scary melee army. Assault Terminators being subjugated. There's a torrent of formation from Floyd. Nicely done. Look at the disruption and the chaos. Allows the Inquisitor to get the decap. She's going to go down though. Yeah, last cannon to the back of the head. Assault Terminators are gated out, which is a good way to kind of counter subjugate. Just wait for it to wear off and use Gate of Infinity to get them out of trouble, since it's usually used to get Terminators into trouble and mean that they can't teleport out. Assault Terminators are able to teleport out there. Chaos Space Marines do not get away from the Lehman Russ, exploding one of the models there. Manticore Strike for good measure, just in case it didn't. Blue team in the ascendancy. Look at this Tyranid army from Floyd. Talk about melee superiority. Jesus is almost level 3. That's a nice nuke though from Zevargel, his second one that I've seen. But Floyd actually gets away relatively unscathed. But can the Carnifex get out of there with a Phobos chasing it and Plague Marines and everything else? I don't think it's going to get away, this big fella. There's a charge. He's used it actually very, very well, and he should be able to now get out of there. Beautifully done from Floyd. Had to aim that very carefully so he wouldn't run into this ruined war truck here. Swarm Lord is on the field. Double havocs for Zevargel. I was going to say they should get a bunch of setup teams up and put them in all these garrisons. Apart from the Zone Throat and I suppose the Flame of Tactical Marines, there's not a whole lot of anti-garrison. I mean, Manticores can destroy them, I guess. I'm not sure if they hit the units inside. That's now 4 Manticores for Forestradio, and why not? You play to your strengths. Absolutely you should play to your strengths. What are these Orks trying to achieve here? Assault Terminators and a Swarm Lord. There's the Blade Flurry. That is such a satisfying ability to use. So satisfying. Especially when you're like swarmed by a Nob squad or something. 94-106. As much as I've talked up the red team, the blue team rather, the red team had a double cap there momentarily. And with a Nob squad around, it's never over. Swarm Lord and the rest of those Tyranids going after the Phobos. That's a Dirge Caster, and that's bad news for Floyd. Gonna lose his warriors, I believe. Yes, lost his warriors. And those guys might have been level 4 by then. They were certainly level 3. And down goes the Swarm Lord, and down goes the Zone Throat. Wow. Really bad engagement from Floyd. That could be a game-winning engagement for the red team. Red team might come out on top despite everything I've said. Why do I try and predict anything? Why do I even talk? Assault Terminators versus Nobs without their claws though. Not a good engagement for them typically. Terminator Force Commander switched back to his Heavy Flamer. Nob Squad are forced off in this instance and almost taken out. Wow, that is close. That is super close. That's a big deal that they got away there. A really big deal. Yahya with double flash kits. No blasters though. Why not? Help you really damage those Terminators. More Terminators on the field for Noisy. These have the heavy flamer as well. Lots of heavy flamers. What the hell is going on there? That was weird. 35 to 106. Have the red team got this game here? I think maybe they do. Can Floyd recover enough? These Manticores need to move up and they need to get shots on this stuff here. He needs to move them up to around this power kind of area. And he needs to do it quickly. Forestradio could do so much damage with his Manticores against his Phobos. Can they finish the Phobos off here? We do have some more of Unigland Warriors. They might have been called in by Floyd. And they're going after the Phobos. And it's the Terminator Force Commander that's capping. Blue team will get the 2-1. Can they hold on to it? Floyd needs to get out of there. There we go. A lot of pressure on the Phobos. Always a good thing. Because now they're going to be thinking about whether he should repair it or whether he should send it just back out into the field. Uh-oh. Mekboy's now capping. It's a double cap for Bluelo. Look at that. Awesome play from Forestradio's Inquisitor. Using the mandate to get the decap there. That could prove vital at the end of the game. But it's going to be a 2-1 for red. And this could be it. They're going to get the natural back. And they're going to get the contested. And Forestradio needed to move his Manticores up to the top. And he has not done so. Tier 3 Lictor now for Floyd. We have Stone Guard veterans level 4 using Hellfire rounds versus Plague Marines who are regular infantry, which is why he's using those Hellfire rounds there. Hive Tyrant fighting Knobs. Frenzy is up and he can't win that fight. Level 5 though, this guy does get away, but they finish a cap. There's the double and red team are going to take this. It was pretty damn close though, or are they? Yes, they are. They have the single. It's going to tick down and red team take it in the end. That was turned out to be a crucial engagement at the top there where Floyd lost the Zone Throat and the Swarm Lord and the Warriors going after the Phobos. But hey, he had a really fun to see melee build. Level 3 Genestealers, almost level 4. Noisy spending unreal amounts of resources on his Force Command. That was pretty crazy. Maybe he could have got a Land Raider instead, which would have helped out a lot. Mekboy got level 5. Chaos Lord level 5. Sorcerer level 5. Level 7 Inquisitor. I do think those Manticores should have been taken up to here. Definitely should have. Would have done so much work at the top. I'm not sure why he didn't, to be honest. Was he really going after this VP that hard? But there you have it. Easy for me to judge watching what players should do. But the red team take it. 72 VPs remaining, and there you have it, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.